so important to me in so many ways. When I saw it hit the screen, I'm like, I got to talk about it. The topic is the underestimated cost of pet parenthood.
Yeah.
Dr. Courtney, thanks for stopping by. And you know what, man? It's something that you once your dog gets sick or your cat or whatever type of animal, it becomes so expensive. It's almost more expensive than healthcare for a human.
Listen, I hear that sentiment quite frequently that veterinary healthcare costs can be more expensive than on the human side. But there is one distinct difference, and that distinct difference is insurance, right? And so that idea of where you have hope for the future that meets the financial reality, a lot of times you bridge that gap with insurance. And we get a chance today to talk about unique financial instruments that can help bridge that gap. So when you put that in HD, when you put that in clarity, like you just did, about how when your pet gets sick, it affects families and it changes the entire outlook of the future. That really resonates with me, which is why I'm happy to talk to you today about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you think about it, you say to yourself, "Are you kidding me? Like the cost today is going to be $2,500.
Right.
Well, that's going to go on a credit card.
Yeah.
And so the first thing is we need to insure our pets from the beginning. I think that ultimately I ended up with an adopted, meaning my fiance. I didn't have the dog before, but we got pet insurance later after pre-existing conditions. It ends up being so high cost that you really have to be proactive, right? That's probably one of the first things.
You certainly do have to be proactive, and you're right. Sit across from families every day at my practice, and sometimes they will have tears in their eyes because they feel like this cost or the financial reality may be a betrayal of their love for their pet. And I just want to tell all pet parents out there, it's not, right? It is a financial reality that you are confronted with when you're seeking veterinary health care. So I hear you loud and clear, and there's a couple of things that I think are really important. Number one, you mentioned the word credit card. And I think that having the Care credit card provides a financial instrument. It provides an access to care that I think is really important. So that's number one. Number two, looking at, Synchrony's lifetime of care study, looking at that specifically, so many pet parents are going through the exact same thing, in which they underestimate the cost of services for their pets. So I think two things. Number one, if you underestimate the cost, but now you're hit with that reality, now you have a flexible solution that can make it more manageable. I think that adds access to care.
Absolutely. And so that care credit is something and we do utilize it and it's so important. It's so nice because like, okay, it gives you that opportunity and you really have to look at who takes care credit. And kind of define the difference between care credit and putting on a regular credit card.
So Care Credit provides that provides those flexible payments, right? So in the event where you're confronted with a veterinary health emergency or a pet health emergency, and you're confronted with these costs, it can be a large out-of-pocket expense initially. But that's where credit card sort of bridges that divide and bridges that gap and says, hey, listen, you don't have to necessarily come out of pocket with these costs. In addition to that, the sort of care credit combined with pet insurance, essentially Better Together campaign, essentially provides you with zero out of pocket costs because you have pet insurance and then you're using a care credit card for those upfront costs at the veterinary office. So when you combine the two and then you look at the idea of having flexible payments and flexible solutions, that provides an access to care. And then there's two other things that I think are really important. It also provides you an option in an emergency scenario, right? So there, besides the costs that come with just regular healthcare, if there's an emergency, now you also bridge that divide. And then finally, number three is looking at that Synchrony's pet lifetime of care study. It makes sure it's not just a slogan, lifetime of care. It enables you to say, I'd like to give my pet an entire lifetime of care with a flexible financial solution.
So synchrony, what's the difference between synchrony and care credit?
Yeah, so Care Credit is essentially Synchrony's credit card, right? So the Care Credit card is what you would use to pay for or to use for an option for financial emergencies, or in the event where you're at the veterinary office and you're like, well, this is going to be pretty expensive. I don't necessarily want out of pocket costs. I need something that can break this down into manageable payments. And that's where the Care credit card comes in full effect.
And it's a lot more flexible than another credit card in so many aspects, and that's huge. And health insurance, pet insurance is a must, right, from the beginning.
You know,
You're
yeah, listen, I think that what we found is this. Pet health insurance has evolved over time. Like anything else, initially there were some hesitations about it. People weren't sure. But now, because it's evolved and people can see proof positive that has helped so many families and so many pets, they're thinking, all right, finally I can see this is a concept that actually works. And we're seeing greater amounts of families adopting pet health insurance. And so when you combine that with the fact that you have a Care credit card, and you use those together, that's where you have these unique opportunities to get access to care. So you're exactly right. Pet health insurance, if you are out there and you are just now welcoming a new canine or feline family
right.
member or small pocket pet, I would absolutely recommend it.
And that's so true. And so when I think about it, the interesting part is that, having these being prevented, making sure you take care of your health, you make sure you're taking the same care of your animal's health. The regular checkups, the visits, all the different things, and make sure early, and this is my recommendation, get the right pet insurance early so that there's no pre-existing conditions, because you're dealing with almost the same thing that you deal with in the healthcare system in the pet healthcare system.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. What I think you're highlighting too, which is beautiful, is the intersection between the human animal bond. This is about a sort of a one health approach where you're looking after your own health and you're also looking at your pet's health, because over 80% of people look at their pet as either a family member, they call them fur babies, or even a child. So they are an indelible fabric of the American family. This is no longer, this is no longer a pet companion for so many families. It is their species different family member, right? And so most families now are multi-species family. And so when we look at it as a one health approach, if you take care of yourself, you can take care of your pet.
Okay. All right. The best place people can go find info on you and stuff. Where's the best place people can go? Care Credit? That's
Carecredit.com or Pet Lifetime of Care Study 2025.com. That's a long word, but I think carecredit.com, I think that's the best place to start.
all right. Well, we appreciate it. Great conversation, but it hit home, and I'm really wanted to jump on the conversation about Care Credit because everyone needs to have it, especially for their pet. Appreciate it, sir. Thanks again.
Thanks so much for the conversation.
All right. You're listening and watching the Neil